Hey gang, Brian Cooley here with another one of your emails about high-tech cars and modern driving. This one comes into Roadshow from Greg Vander M, who says, I often have to leave my car outside undriven for long periods, up to weeks at a time. What would you recommend to keep the car in good shape and avoid the notorious paint fade? Interesting how your mind first went to paint fade. My mind first goes to the rubber seals. Those are the ones that I worry about the most with cars left outside. And I think number one is ultraviolet. That will kill everything. That's where you get a lot of paint damage. That's where you get interior damage. That's where you get rubber seal damage. I think that also even contributes to tire destruction. I mean, some tires go bad with almost no miles on them because of ozone, and I believe ultraviolet raises hell with rubber as well. So this is your biggest issue. Get a car cover. Now, I will say this, there's a ton of good car covers out there, but if you're in an area of inclement weather, I don't think any cover makes sense to have on the car out when it's pouring rain or to have snow on it. The car cover companies will argue otherwise. I just find that to be a big sloppy mess sitting on your car, so I've never had a great answer for that. Now, wet outside is one thing, dry inside is another. Get one of these little pots of desiccant. You leave it open in the car. This is great to avoid that musty, moldy, slightly misty haze inside the glass that makes you go, uh-oh, the thing got wet while it was sitting here. The battery, of course, is a no-brainer. You might be right on the bubble, depending what you mean by a few weeks at a time. More like a month, I would definitely put a tender on it, especially modern cars that tend to be doing something electrical all the time, even when they're off and locked. And these things aren't very expensive, so even if your car's outside and someone does steal it, it won't cost much to replace it. And as I mentioned, protect the rubber seals, many of which are exposed. I must have every rubber protectant and restorative in the world. I'm not sure which one works, so I tend to use them all. But what I dread is having to go source expensive OEM rubber, especially if it's out of production later, and go through the process of fitting it because it never fits quite like factory. I'm kind of a fetishist of getting all those seals protected, and hopefully they never need tending. And after all of this, I think your paint's going to do okay, because factory paint these days is almost like factory armor. If you do leave your car out for months versus weeks, you might want to use some fuel additive to keep the gasoline from gelling. And by the way, window tint can also be a help in some of these areas. I'm going to be doing a trip out to 3M headquarters in the Twin Cities soon. We've had a lot of questions about the latest in tint technology and how it's applied. We'll have that story coming up soon. Keep those emails coming. I'm here to answer your questions about high-tech cars and modern driving. It's Cooley at theroadshow.com.